So there you go. So what's up next, pal?
All right, man. So I have been dying to talk about this guy, and I've gotten you into the weeds a little bit, but it'll be fun, I promise. And it's definitely going to be a lighter note than the first half of the show.
Right.
This guy. So there is a website, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he's all over social media, and he's really interesting. He's called the Pop Song Professor, and he doesn't have a whole lot on the site right now. I mean, there's a good 30, 40 songs, I guess, but it's not near the music catalog that I hope it ends up being. But, Jay, as you know, I frequently have young children riding around in vehicles with me. Now, it's not because I'm weird. It's because one of them is mine, and he brings along friends everywhere we go, okay?
Right. And they're just
that is weird, I guess. If you think that's weird, then I'm weird. But I'm not creepy weird, okay? But
right.
Sometimes the music selection is done by sometimes it's a democracy in the car. It's not always the driver's rules.
Right.
Sometimes it has to become a democracy to get people to do things you need them to do, and so you consent control of the radio. Right? Are you with me?
Right. I'm with you. Yeah.
So there's songs that play, and a lot of these are pop culture songs. It's pop, and I'm like, what? He just said what?
That?
What does that even mean?
What exactly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Enter the Pop Song Professor. Okay. Now let me give you an example here. Okay. This is how I was first introduced to the Pop Song Professor. The song "Old Town Road," which I alluded to at the beginning of the show.
Lil Nas X.
There is one of the verses says, "My life is a movie." Okay, that part I get. Bull riding and boobies. Okay, I'm still with you. Okay. Cowboy hat from Gucci. Great. Wrangler on my booty. Okay, that all makes sense, right?
Right.
But the first half of that verse says, "Riding on a tractor, lean all in my bladder."
Right.
What? Lean all in my... What is a bladder in your tractor? What is that? What are you talking about? Okay.
Well, see, when I saw that lyric, I mean, I read it, and when I heard it, is he really saying that? What lean on? So apparently, and I know this because when I'm riding on a tractor or driving a tractor, man, my bladder gets all jarred up, and everything, and I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, man. I mean, is that what he's talking about?
Well, no. Nice try. But according to the Pop Song Professor, he says, okay, so first of all, he's upgraded from a horse to a tractor. Remember at the beginning of the song, he's riding his horse on the Old Town Road, okay? So he's upgraded from horse to tractor. Then, lean all in my bladder, he's explaining that he's not endorsing it, but it's just kind of his version of what it will be. In other words, what you always say is, it is what it is, right? Which makes me go like, okay. Yeah. I'm reading here. Yeah. So, so this guy, this pop song, now he's an educator in the music industry, which may or may not be a good thing, depending on your opinion of those guys. But this guy's entertaining, and I like him a lot. And he has YouTube videos. He goes around. I don't know if you had time to watch these, but he talks about. He interviews college-age fans of hip hop and rap, and he asks them questions about the direction of rap music and where it's going. And there's like a thing now called mumble rap. It's actually a thing,
right?
Okay. And he goes into that a little bit, and he studies it, and he breaks it down. So if you're at all kind of fascinated about the meanings behind songs, this guy is your first go-to to see if he's got that song listed out on his website.
Yeah.
And there's one that he doesn't have that I want to send him, and we might actually do here and send it to him and see if he'll analyze it. But we'll get to that in a minute. So you were about to say...
Well, I'm new to this, okay? So Keith introduced me to this. I didn't know anything about this guy. And I do find it fascinating because I went through some of the songs, like, for example, the Lil Nas X, Old Town, was it Old Town Road, right?
Yeah, Old Town Road, yeah.
Old Town Road. There's two versions of that. It's his, and then there's one with Billy Ray Cyrus featuring, and he adds his own little take on it too, which I heard. And but this is new to me, so I'm not as educated on this as Keith is, so I have to preface that. But the thing that I find, most of the stuff that he's doing is really not in my wheelhouse.
It's pop.
Right. It's pop. I don't have young kids, but I did find a few, some old timer stuff, as I like to call it, which we'll talk about.
Well, he
here in a
does an
minute.
entire YouTube video on Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, which is a really good one. And what is it? Kansas, Dust in the Wind.
He covers that.
And I also saw one that he and his wife did together. About Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Yeah, right.
The meaning of that one. That's a good one.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? So this guy's name, if you want, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy you a minute here. So his name is Clifford, and Clifford is the pop song professor. Let's see. I'm looking at his about page right now. He says he started this when he was Googling some song lyric meanings to try and find out what they meant, and he basically wasn't satisfied with the results.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm trying to find how I discovered that he's involved in education, but I know in watching the YouTube videos, he's out at campuses and stuff. Yeah.
Well, he talks about it frequently too, what he does in his background. I noticed that in a couple of videos that I watched.
And so he says, and I agree with this, being a classically trained musician and actually changed schools because my first school was a little too stuffy. Academia has ignored pop songs for a long time, but they're one of the most common forms of media, and that is 100% true. And kids that are drawn into music are drawn in because of what they're familiar with, right?
Right.
And you educate them and you give them the tools to create whatever they want, and you give them a diverse background in that education, meaning, classical. I mean, we've talked about this before where I've said, look, Eddie Van Halen didn't invent some of the stuff that he's doing. He's borrowing from Bach.
He's borrowing it from Bach, right? Exactly. These are,
So there's some knowledge there of his predecessors, and that's important, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But at the same time, I don't want to hear Eddie Van Halen play Bach, right? I mean, okay, I'll listen to that, but I'd much rather him write his own stuff. So this is where I think he's got a good point. If we demand meaning in our lyrics, artists will begin to write more meaningful and uplifting songs. Well, we all win in that case, right?
Certainly.
All right, so are you going into the Coldplay stuff or the Nirvana? What do you want to go into? Or Nirvana?
Well, I'll just stay briefly on this because, again, like I said, I started looking at some of this stuff and I'm like, wow, man, I mean, it's just not in my wheelhouse. But I found Smells Like Teen Spirit and I'm like, okay, I think I know a little bit about the song. I basically thought it was just a rebellious song, because they're from the Seattle area, that it had a lot to do with just kind of that whole scene, a dark and dingy area, that they were just worthless stuff. And, this dude gets in, he breaks it down, and Dave Grohl has spoken about the lyrics on this song. And the bottom line the song is inspired by the Pixies.
Okay. Yep.
And when asked about some of the lyrics,
let me clarify for our listeners that aren't familiar. The Pixies are another music act. We are not talking about like Peter Pan Disney movies. Right.
Okay. Right. Another band, great, which was one of Dave Grohl's, as all the members of Nirvana, one of their favorite bands, the Pixies. But even Dave Grohl said that some of the words absolutely have no meaning whatsoever, which I always thought of. I'm like, what, my libido, what is all this stuff? And turns out Dave Grohl admits that some of those things were just syllables to fill gaps. That's it. They were simply written just to fill gaps. But the root to the song was basically Gen X, just not caring, apathy. Basically, that Gen X, that's what the song is about. There's some kind of, you really have to listen to get the meaning of it. And I had to listen to the song over and over again to kind of get it, but I still truly, I mean, if you're not comprehending it and piecing those things together, and you can get thrown for a loop with some of these syllables to fill gaps, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, the song, period.
So you're giving me a flashback. Let me mention also, we'll put a link on the Mentioned on the Podcast page on our website. There's a tab up at the top if you go to partscounterguru.com, and then look for a tab that says mentioned on the podcast, and we will put a link in there to some of the Pixies stuff, because you should, if you've never heard them, go check them out. Just
they're great. Yeah,
expand your horizons, right? Just maybe not be your favorite thing, but if they were a big enough deal to influence Nirvana, you need to at least have heard them. Okay. The other thing is, if you have not seen the documentary, it's a series called The 90s, and I've found it on Netflix.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
I think Tom Hanks is one of the he's the EP. He like kind of bankrolls the project, but what they do is basically what this guy Clifford, the pop song professor, is trying to do is, when they talk about Nirvana, they basically go into what was going on in the world at the time that they made it big, why that was such a big deal, and why Nirvana was just like the perfect thing at the perfect time and the perfect fit.
Lightning in a bottle,
to
man.
be the voice of that generation.
Absolutely.
Basically what they're going into here. The 90s, it's a documentary series on Netflix. It's called The 90s. Go check it out. It goes into this in depth, but it's fascinating. If you're at all a fan of anything flannel from the 90s.
Yeah, even
Pearl
flannel
Jam,
flavored beer. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Nirvana, all of it.
You know, I loved those guys. And now some of the other songs I got. You know, I got the true meaning behind it, which was they were very self-explanatory in my opinion. This one wasn't to me, other than I knew it was an angsty song, if you will.
Well, what else?
But
do you have anything? Is there another song on your radar that you found? If not, I've got one, but just out of curiosity, guy who doesn't listen to pop.
Yeah, guy who doesn't listen to pop. Well, yes, I did, and I found this on there, and I had heard the song, and I listened to it. It's a new song by Coldplay. I'm a fan of Coldplay. I like Coldplay.
He covers a lot of Coldplay on his.
He really does,
website.
and I'm kind of glad, because at least I can relate to that. I've always been a big fan of it.
Something for everybody,
guys.
Jay.
Right, and it truly is. But it's a song called "Orphans."
Okay.
And let me just read the intro real quick. Boom, boom, kaboom, bubba, daka, boom, boom, whatever, right? But the lyrics go, they talk about, where's it at here? With bombs going boom, ba-boom, boom, she say. And it talks about Damascus in there, Rosaline of the Damascene, is that right? Damascene, I think.
Sure.
Yes, she had eyes like the moon, would have been on the silver screen, but for the missile monsoon. Okay, so that particular lyric, the missile monsoon, I automatically kind of connected with, okay, this is a song about people being bombed.
Yeah.
And Middle Eastern, that area. And getting down to it, it's so interesting how he broke this thing out. So here we have the reference to the bombings that happened in the Syrian capital, Damascus, in April 2018. It's when Britain, the U.S., and France attacked the city, leaving many dead children and adults. One of those is the character mentioned here. Her name was Rosaline, okay? Which relates to City of Roses, I think, is what he was saying. Let's see, and it goes on. Right, okay. It's true, woo woo ooh ooh, with bombs going boom ba boom boom. He say. So her Baba, which is Arabic for father, he was a simple farmer, and this verse shows the beauty of the city, mentioning almonds, peach trees, flowers, tulips, and honey, of all which to show the simple, happy life that these innocent people had before the war. And so during the song, as you listen to it, it says how they miss it. They want to go back home. They can't wait to go back home. What's waiting for me? And man, this guy breaks this down and really tells the story of what this song is all about. So these lyrics, you get it when you listen to the song. You get it. It's not obscured at all. You just don't understand. You're not really getting the whole meaning behind the location, who the character is in the song. If that makes any sense to you, Keith, I know it does to me. I'm babbling and explaining this to myself.
It's fine.
But
So it does. I used to have I think it was music history. I had a college professor at a university that shall remain nameless, and he was in the music department, and he used to torture us with Drop the Needle. And he would tell us, he would always say, do not just sit there and let the music wash over you. He used to call it active listening. He said, pay attention to what you're hearing. Think about what's happening in the music that you're listening to. And I remember the first few times I heard him say that, and I just thought, whatever, man. That is going to completely change my enjoyment level of this music. And I really believed that.
Have you heard this song?
Yeah.
Okay, so you and this is perfect. And I just asking that because this song does. You're absolutely right. If you listen to everything that's going on in the song, the picture is really painted very well for this song. The lyrics, and it really is.
Sometimes it actually contributes to a higher level of enjoyment for the music. Not all the time. I mean, if it's a song you didn't like to begin with anyway, or you find out it's something that's gross or that you don't agree with or whatever. But why wouldn't you, I guess there's ignorance, bliss in ignorance or whatever. But to me, it has really heightened my enjoyment of, back to the whole Van Halen thing, when we would sit there and I would talk about like, well, here's where I think Eddie's trying to, I just like being able to sort of break it down, so to speak. So,
yeah.
Now, do you know the song? Well, I've got one more here.
Go ahead.
But I do encourage you to check out this guy's Bohemian Rhapsody. He does like a podcast and a YouTube video on that one.
Yeah, it was good. High level people.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Do you know the song Uma Thurman by Fall Out Boy? Fall Out Boy, it was it's been all over you've heard it.
Well, I probably have, but it just didn't catch me, man.
It sounds like something in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Right, and I get that. Me, man, you want to dissect songs, I'm like old Pink Floyd stuff.
I know,
like
but
Animals
this is
and
the
Wish
kind
You
of
Were
thing
Here
where you walk into some public venue and they've got it playing. It's just everywhere. Right. Okay.
Well, that's more common these days with pop music.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's almost like they're writing them for elevators or commercials, man. That's just the way I feel about it. Sorry, pop music guys.
If you have heard this, which is the rest of the world except for Jay, and Jay's actually heard it, he just doesn't know. But basically, this song Uma Thurman, which I think won the VMA Best Rock Video Award, whatever year it came out. It was wildly popular. Okay, and it's kind of confusing. Like he just Fall Out Boy keeps singing about Uma Thurman. It's like what? There's a little bit of a Munsters kind of melody going on in the background, like a Herman Munsters theme kind of thing. And so he goes into he actually reaches out to some of these bands and gets inside information, which is why I brought this song up, because he's getting it sometimes from the source.
From the source, yes.
Right?
Just like Dave Grohl. He spoke with Dave Grohl about it, yeah.
So they said, Fall Out Boy said on their Facebook page that basically Uma Thurman and Winona Ryder were women in pop culture, but were quirky during sort of their, when the Fall Out Boys were sort of young Fall Out Boys. I don't know how else to say that, right?
Right.
And so these are pop culture icons in their own right. It's not necessarily about the person Uma Thurman so much as it is about the character that Uma Thurman plays in some of the Tarantino movies, right? Her as a status, as a caricature, so to speak, right? So ultimately, in this case, the song Uma Thurman is about wooing a violent, wild woman. There you go.
Right. There you go. Well, it's like what's what is the name of that band? I like the guys. Moves Like Jagger.
Yeah. That's Maroon 5.
Maroon 5. That's right. They're a great band, by the way. I do like those guys. I like their earlier stuff, but the Moves Like Jagger. Obviously, the reference there.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So and that's I think the point here is that And I really, really like the way you painted that picture with when you were in when you were in class, how you were told, just not let the music wash over you, because there's so much depth to a lot of these songs, more than just the music. Just kind of pay attention to things that are going on within the song. You'll get it. And that's where I kind of think, and I kind of like to make the point that this is where this guy is really neat, because I think there is a lack of explanation anymore behind the music. Whereas, me growing up, I would run to the store and, buy the album, the complete package, couldn't wait, or the CD.
Yep.
Nowadays, in the digital world, nobody buys those things anymore. So for me, I would buy the album. I couldn't wait to pull the lyric sheet out.
Oh, dude, you were in there gathering every piece of information you could, like me.
Dropping the needle.
Yep.
And just listening to the whole album front to back while reading the lyrics and making my own, assessment of what they're trying to get, the message they're trying to get across. And also the album artwork would leave little, there'd be little snippets of something, or, little Skittles around for you, if you will, little cookies around for you.
You mentioned Pink Floyd earlier, man. Like I just put The Wizard of Oz on and check out.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Right.
Now I've opened up a whole other controversy.
Oh, man.
But this guy Clifford says on his website, I'm going to quote him here, if we demand meaning in our lyrics, artists will begin to write more meaningful and uplifting songs. So he's basically saying what I said and what you just said, which is actively participate in what you're hearing and demand that it be responsive to that active participation, meaning you get something in return for the investment of your time and you're listening. And trust me, folks, if you do that, you will enjoy so much more what you listen to. Right.
Absolutely, man. And this is the thing.
Well, Jay, isn't this a car show? Why are we talking about music?
Oh, because we play music in our cars, right?
We talk about everything, man. It's not just
we do.
Give me the speech back that you always give to everybody else.
Oh,
I thought you guys were just about cars.
Yeah, well, no, man. We're entertainment. We do a little bit of everything. We're trying to be as informative as possible and draw you within our world. These are the conversations that Keith and I have, and we want you to hear them.
I summoned you today. I was out in public, as sometimes I've been known to do, and I ran into a friend of mine, and I said, she said, "What are you doing later?" And I said, "Well, I got to get to the podcast." And she said, something. She asked something, and I said, we just did an episode. It's out now. You should go check it out. It's called "We Told You So," and I gave her the concept of all these things that we sort of said were coming, and then we went back, and it was kind of fun to just go, hey, this all happened this year, and we told you it would. And she goes, well, I thought you guys just talked about cars, and I literally could. I just dialed your voice in.
You channeled me in.
And I gave it right back. Yeah, it was that speech right there. Probably not as good as you could do it, but I gave it my best.
I think I've probably done it better than that before, but I think people are getting the gist of it. Is that these are conversations that Keith and I have, and we think they're relevant to anybody.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're having conversations that you might find around a parts counter. No doubt about it. It could be a hardware parts counter, man. It doesn't matter. It's
so it's not just like four-wheeled automobiles. Oh, I get it. That's clever. So you mean, wait a minute now, if I'm working on my lawnmower and I go into the lawnmower parts counter, I might talk about this stuff too?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine that, man. Don't we all have lives and we like to share our thoughts?
It's funny. It's weird. I just let it all wash over me. So, hey, I've got one more, and I want to pitch this one to the pop song professor, Clifford. If this message reaches you, here's my, hey Jay.
Okay.
Here's my message in a bottle to Clifford.
Ooh.
You see what I did there?
I saw it.
All right, that was really bad. I'm sorry for that.
I saw it. No, it's good. It worked. It worked. It's fine.
So Clifford, this is one of life's mysteries. I am dying. Please take this one on. If you would, be so kind as to take this on. It would just make our day. Maybe you take it on and come do it on our show, and we'll do a.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll yeah. We'll talk about it. But Meatloaf did a song called I think it was titled I'll Do Anything for Love or Anything for Love.
I won't do that.
But I won't do that. Now look, I've got plenty of suspicions on what that is, and I've joked about it for a long time. But if you would just break that song down in general, but especially the that, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? I mean, I think we're still trying to uncover what that is. Yeah. So there you go, Clifford.
I would just say, like if you're taking requests, again, if you're taking requests, you see,
can I give him a request?
There's a music reference there, and I asked him if he was taking. Never mind. Okay, if you're taking requests, Meatloaf, Anything for Love, please. I would be so honored.
Anything for Love, that's right.
Yeah, I know it's not a pop song. It's not. But you still hear it everywhere all the time.
You know what, though?
You?
It is it's a part of pop culture for us.
Oh, for sure.
It really is. I mean, it's huge. It's like Dashboard Lights. Same, just one of those songs.
Yeah.
Those were two songs that were very impactful, that are a mainstay to this day. I think they were his two biggest hits. So there you have it. Interesting.
Would you do the honors of our like, okay, I guess social, or do you want to get into the whole
I'll get into the whole thing.
Okay.
Look,
yeah. All right.
Here, look, guys. Yeah, Keith's been talking. He needs to take a breath or something. Anyway, hey, we would love to have you visit our website. It's partscountergurus.com. There you will find many things, not to mention mentioned on the podcast, which in Cartan, go to our mentioned on the podcast. You'll find it there. Anything we talk about on any podcast will be there. We need your help also. We have a nice little banner up there for Amazon. If you click that, it will take you over to the Amazon site. Basically, it's a click-through, but that helps us out tremendously. We need all the help we can get. If you put something in your basket and purchase it within, I think, was it 24 hours, Keith? Something like that?
I think so, yeah.
We may or may not get a little love from that. We have no idea what you're buying. We don't know who you are, but we will get a little love. So it doesn't matter, just even if you're not even interested in anything other than shopping on Amazon, just go to our website just to click through to the Amazon tab. But anyway.
And the most important reason for that, this is a variation on one of your themes. You have a famous saying that I've become very fond of, and I'm going to mess around with it a little bit. But
okay, you going to jive it up?
Basically, the show is free to you, but it's not free to us.
Right.
Okay, and the reason for that is we have production expenses. So
that's exactly
you going and doing what Jay is asking you to do on Amazon helps us, because even though you're paying the same exact price as you would pay if you didn't go through our website, we get what's called an affiliate credit on that, and it translates to a little tokenization, little cash, and it helps us offset the bandwidth expense. So the show is free to you. That was an awful. I'm sorry. It's the best. I can do.
No, actually, it was great, and I don't know why I couldn't have. I don't think I could have done a better job. Really,
well,
I was losing. I was losing myself within the fact that Amazon's such a big deal. I just.
Right.
Anyway, no, okay. Our fans get it.
Back to you.
This is free to you, and it costs us. There you go. So anyway, back to that. You can check us out. Any of the podcasts that we put out there. We have audio podcast that's available on numerous platforms.
How could I find it if I love like Spotify?
Yeah, you just go right to our website, partscountergurus.com. And click on all of our podcast links right up there in the menu.
What's it named, though? Is it named like click here to find where we might be playing live on a device near you? Something like that?
No, just simply easy for you guys to remember. It's like directions on the back of a pancake mix. You just click on podcast links, and it will take you to that page, and you can click on any platform you want. Now, those are all audio, except for we have one. We recently went We were video on some of them, but we went all audio on most of the platforms, if not all the platforms now, other than our YouTube channel. If you like the video podcasts, and not only video podcasts, you can look at some DIY videos, some product reviews, short videos that we do, news events, all kinds of fun stuff.
So wait, let me make sure I understand this. So you're saying, Jay, that if I go to the YouTube channel, it's the same exact podcast that I can listen to on my iPod, except it also has video.
Correct.
Well, that's like 100% more for the same price.
That's exactly right. It's free.
Why wouldn't I jump on that? I'm getting twice as much for the same low price of zero.
That's exactly right.
And all I have to do is go to youtube.com/The Parts Counter Gurus. And then while I'm there, I need to hit the bell to be notified of when the next one comes out, and maybe hit the subscribe and leave us a comment on whatever you want to see. And that's it, right?
That's it.
And I get to watch and listen.
Yes. You get, that's just actually a special bonus part of what we do. You know, the offering we have over on YouTube is crazy.
What are we thinking, man? Giving twice as much away for free.
It's all this free stuff, man. And, you know, folks, for those of you who are challenged with getting over to YouTube, we make it even easier for you. You can still just go to our website, which is partscounterguru.com, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the YouTube icon. Just click on that. It takes you right over. Subscribe while you're there.
This is weirdly starting to feel like one of those baking infomercials where, come on, man, you've watched them. We've all watched them, right?
Oh, I'm guilty of it, man.
Where they're like overly excited about something so simple, and I just sort of feel,
Yeah, what is it? The air fryer?
Right.
Come on over, the air fryer,
But I promise this is all true. Every bit of it. You can absolutely go to the website, find all the links Jay's talking about, go on over to YouTube. It's right there. It's that easy. The Amazon thing could not be easier. It literally is clicking a picture of Amazon on the top right corner of our website.
It's easy. Keith, you've done a great job with putting that. I mean, see, with a lot of the hours that you've put into this thing to make it so easy to access free stuff. Access free stuff. It's crazy, except for what's over on Amazon. Of course, that's not free, but you getting to Amazon through us is free. Yeah. And it helps us out. So let's talk about some social media things, too.
Okay.
We're also on Facebook, guys. You can follow us. We'd appreciate that. Follow us over on facebook.com/Parts Counter Gurus.
It's weird. Instagram. I actually remember that this time, but that's it.
Yeah. And then we're also over on Instagram. So that's instagram.com/The Parts Counter Gurus. Follow us there. Like us there. Like our Facebook page. Tell a friend. Pass it on to a friend. Share our page. Ask them to follow us. Keep following us on Facebook, because we're going to be adding a few new things for you there to kind of help you navigate further through our offering. In other words, more free stuff. This is getting crazy. The theme of the day is just free.
So one of the things that we did, that we started doing at the beginning of the year, is that we are doing more content, especially on the video side, like on YouTube. But some of that's also making its way over to Facebook.
That's right.
And we are breaking these out into, so we've got the podcast, and that's always kind of what we love to do. We were doing a lot of news segments in the podcast. The news now has its own show.
Yes.
Wow.
Live.
I can't not say news and have that happen.
And I can't say live. I can't help but do that.
So, so there are more, and some of it may be, hey, I don't want to listen to the news on your podcast or whatever. Some people love it. So we're just giving you the best of both worlds. If you like it, you can go watch it and listen to it. And if you don't, now you don't have to. So there you go. And the news content is not just specific to automotive stuff. It's all over the place. We're talking about a lot of interesting things. We think it's whatever's relevant in your life. That is what we want to bring you. So that's why we do what we do. So we're having fun. Yeah, man.
So what else? What else?
I don't know. I multiple times tried to derail you from the links and social media references, and I think you somehow managed to make it through them, even though I kept like peppering you with distractions.
You know, you sometimes do come across as that little brother, man, that just keeps bugging me, man. It's weird. It's weird, but that's okay. I get through it. It's a challenge. I'm challenged. I mean, you know, there you go. So,
hey Jay.
Yes.
Mom says it's time to go.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Pulling me off.
So, thank you guys for watching and listening. Until next time, that is Jay over there. I am Keith. We are the Parts Counter Gurus. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from that famous philosopher, Oprah Winfrey.
Okay? Boy.
This is a good one. I like it, even though, I mean, you wouldn't expect it to have come from Oprah, but that's all right. Great things can come out of her mouth, too, I guess.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude.
Ooh, I like that, guys. Take heed. Take heed. Catch you next time, guys.
See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
Later. Boom, boom, kaboom, bubba, da ka, boom, boom, whatever, right?